Today, on the Dear Paarijaat Podcast show, we are thrilled to welcome Sain Parker, a talented writer, artist, musician, and speaker. Sain has written 8 books, given a TED Talk, and is passionate about art, culture, and making the world a better place. We have been exploring his experience and insights, diving into the topics like representation in culture and the importance of justice in a society. Let's have a look to our conversation.
So, first of all, thank you so much, sir, for coming in a lovely podcast show, Dear Paarijaat. As I want to introduce myself first, sir, I am Arpit Bala Saini. Professionally, I am a content creator, and as well, I am a co-host in this show, podcast, Dear Paarijaat. So, and as well, I want to introduce to our audience. So today, our guest is Mr. Sen Parker, sir, writer, artist, musician, and lecturer on art, cultural, and justice reforms. 8 books and numerous articles are being published. So, sir, you are most welcome in our show.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, we are starting with our first question of our session. So, sir, what inspired you to focus on representation of the people who stammer in culture and justice reforms in the media?
Right. Well, I've been a person who's stammers all of my life since I was 5, and I've had all kinds of speech therapy through my life. I've got my stammer to a place where I'm okay with it, and for various different kinds of therapies and English teaching for 10 years and all kinds of things. And just during COVID, during the lockdown, I decided to write a book in terms of like an autobiography of a stammer as opposed to me. And so it was about a stammer in culture, some treatments, and some how to handle it with a sense of humor, that kind of thing. It's called Compelling Speech, The Stammering Enigma, and it was released last year, and I'm very proud of it. So that's how I got involved in stammering writing.
Okay, sir. So, sir, how do you balance your various roles as a writer, artist, musician, lecturer, and editor?
Yeah, I do like to keep all of those things going. I'm a long-termist, so if I started to write, for example, when I was 14, and then I started to paint when I was 20, those are how these things happened. I didn't stop doing the other thing. I just continued doing both of them, and I quite like doing it all with the same intensity. So it's not like this one's a hobby and this is the main. They're all of the same equal intensity. That's my main interest. So if I do a painting I'm happy with, I want to make sure that the poem that I do the next month I'm also just as happy with. So I do that with a sense of sort of time balance, and then there's life to factor in, different kinds of work, and then all these artistic things. And you just try to structure your day around it. I do it by not watching normal television and not doing the things that normal people do. I do creative things as a priority, I guess.
Okay, sir. So, sir, can you share a memorable experience from your time lecturing at Istanbul University?
Yeah, I mean, that it was only the one lecture, and it was a lecture on uh, Turkish body language and how that refers to English culture. Having lived there for 10 years, they were very interested in that subject, and I gave the lecture at the Latin festival thing there, where they're all talking about the influence of the Latin on Istanbul itself. And then there am I as an English cultural studies teacher, speaking to 150 people of their best students about this subject, and they're curious basically about how to fit Turkish behaviors into Europe and into international language, that kind of thing. So I was talking about how Turkish people are much more close and much more on you, and we have some very specific things in Britain, as you might be aware, about if you can reach someone whilst putting your hands like in a circle, then they're too close. Come any closer than that, it's too close. So it's a Germanic thing, and so just introducing all that to them. So it was a lecture basically on body language, with bits of English the language colour in it there at the same time. There was lots of questions coming to me sort of from the audience, and every time that happened, someone else in the audience would shout down the asker. So it was quite, because they were like having some sort of battle. So that was a very strange experience. But it was 45 minutes of that. It was just a very big, beautiful hall at Istanbul University.
Okay, sir. So, sir, how do you see cancel culture impacting the art, and what are your views on navigating the phenomenon?
Cancel culture is a real danger at the moment in Western culture. I don't know how it is around the rest of the world so much, but in the Anglosphere, it's being used as a political tool to silence individual thought in the arts, in painting and film. Not so much painting, but to a degree in painting and film, and also the music. It's always been there in the music because of decency rules, but it's gone beyond decency into wrongthink. If a political faction doesn't agree with the message of whatever a creator is putting out, even when there isn't meant to be a message involved, they will cancel, they will deplatform, and they will shout down and they will slash paintings. These are all iterations of cancel culture. They're very, very destructive, and they're very hard to police against. And they're causing even the most liberal, open-minded, relaxed person like me to find themselves suddenly cast as a right winger by certain people just because of saying, I prize art over all that cancel culture stuff. People should be allowed to say what they say. That's why we have Enlightenment West. But we're somehow getting rid of that, and I'm part of the fight back against that, basically.
Okay, sir. So, what are your thoughts on the responsibilities of arts and creative in the addressing societal issues and promoting positive change?
I suppose that depends what positive change means, because the people who are doing the cancel culture think that they're involved with positive change. So it's like when you have a kid who kind of gets into school and says, I want to make a difference. Well, the difference is, for them, they think that's going in and slashing up an old painting in an English gallery, and that is not the way. So people's moral relativism has got very, very confused and mixed up, where they think that destroying your past is somehow a positive political statement. Yes, I'm an older man talking like this about a younger movement, but lots of the younger people are thinking exactly what I'm saying. They just don't have the confidence to do so because of the power of groupthink. So I don't have a social message behind what I do anymore, because I just like to reflect actual humanity. Whatever good and bad things people go through, I like to reflect that in a painting or in a song or something, or an article. I don't go and tell people what to do anymore, because we are sick in culture of being told what to do with the polemics and all that stuff. It's far too politicized in terms of, it's not interesting. Telling someone what to think and feel is not interesting. Reflecting back in an artistic way how they might be feeling is interesting. And I want to be on that side of things. So, answer your question, I don't have a message behind my stuff.
Okay, sir. So, in what way do you think the media can improve its coverage for of justice reform and related topics?
Justice reform and the media in Western press are deeply connected, as in they feed off each other. So if the activities of a person are alleged to have been counter narrative, if they're wrong according to the narrative of culture that the society is trying to push forward, if they don't correspond with that in the press, they will be monstered. And this happens from all kinds of different high profile people all over the world all the time. When they do kind of correspond with those aims, then they're celebrated, even though the action might be exactly the same or exactly the same in its impact. So the media and the justice systems are actually in bed together. They never talk about this, but it's how a societal move, for example, the Black Lives Matter has been since exposed to have been a bit of a money-making project to lots of people involved in that. So what started off as a very worthy thing, stop killing black people in America, police, became a way for lots of political activists to buy mansions. Because of the tie-in with the media and everyone making lots of money off the back of that. So it becomes corrupted very easily, and the media and justice systems corrupt each other on a regular basis. And I'm very interested in pointing that out with my articles, so hoping to help with that.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you share about your experience hosting shows and interviewing notable personalities in the art and music industry?
Yeah, this was quite a while ago now. I haven't been a music writer for a couple of years, about 6 or 7 years. But at the times that I used to interview people on the alternative musicians and writers. A lot of it was by email, to be honest, but there were a couple of face-to-face ones as well. And the memorable one was Sarah Blackwood of Dubstar, who I interviewed in Sultanahmet in Istanbul, and we were there on the balcony of a beautiful hotel, a pink hotel, and she was about to do a gig at the Mojo Club in Istanbul Centre, and I talked to her for half an hour on there about her current state of mind before the tour that she was doing, I think in 2013, and she was a big singer in the 90s with Dubstar, and she was continuing to do really good stuff solo. So I was delighted to meet her and to and if people want to see that, they can see it. Indie Istanbul was the company interviewing Sarah Blackwood of Dubstar. So that was on there. There's a couple of other interviews. Lots of people have done. Danny McNamara of Embrace, I did him for God Is in the TV. And Kristen Hirsch of The Throwing Muses, who I still absolutely adore. I've been a fan of her for years. I got the chance to interview her for Louder Than for God Is in the TV as well around 10 years ago. So that was a joy.
Okay, sir. Sir, could you recommend someone you believe would be an excellent person to interview?
What would be an excellent person to interview?
Yes, sir.
Question? I would love to interview Mr. Wayne Coyne of the Flaming Lips. I've adored his music since about 1999. I remember it precisely at university, the Soft Bulletin album, and he's just this wonderful, open-minded American, Oklahoman, big-haired, artistic man, full of wonderful energy. I'd love to sit down with him for an hour and talk about the last 50 years of music and art. That'd be great. But if he's listening, get in touch, Wayne. I'd love to do that.
Okay, sir. Sorry. Finally, there is any specific message, announcement, or piece of advice you would like to convey to our audience?
Yeah, on the 6th of April this year, I'm going to be a part of the Innocence Art exhibition at Bristol University, which is an exhibition put on by the law school there with Dr. Michael Norton, my esteemed co-curator, and is the leading kind of criminologist in Britain, and we'll be presenting a bunch of my paintings and some films by Mr. Patrick Graham, who's a film director, all on the 6th of April. If anybody's in the vicinity who's kind of listening to you, to get them to pass the message on to you and to pass that message on to me, that would be great, on the 6th of April.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for these questions. Okay, sir. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming, sir.
Are we done?
Yes, sir.
What an amazing conversation we had with Sain Parker on the Dear Paarijaat Podcast show. Sain's story and ideas have given us a lot to think about. His work in writing music and speaking has made a real impact, and we are grateful for the wisdom he shared with us today. Thank you, Sain Parker, for inspiring us and our listeners. We look forward to make more conversation that brings positive change and understanding to our world. Thank you so much.